Did you do your homework? We're expecting you to be keeping up on the tasks we assign because otherwise you're gonna get nothing out of this. I want you guys to be successful, but in building that discipline through these tiny actions, and they're designed to be that way, gives you guys the reinforcement that you need to be able to take on bigger projects. I'm not gonna say anymore. You're here for a reason, and I trust that you're staying on track. Lesson 3. The wealth mindset. How do we think like the 1%? In the last lesson, we exposed those limiting beliefs that have been keeping you stuck. We broke down that mental cage that had you believe that money, success, and opportunity were out of your reach. Now, it's time to take the next step, thinking like the 1% so we can continue generating opportunity. Because here's the hard truth. You don't get rich by working your ass off. You don't get rich by saving every dollar. And you don't get rich by doing what everyone else does. You get rich by thinking, acting, and making decisions differently than the 99% of people who get stuck in the scarcity loop. This lesson is important. It's not just about thinking positive. We're gonna rewrite your entire perception of money, wealth, and opportunity so that you start making moves like the A players that actually build wealth easily. As always, we're gonna start with a story. Two brothers inherit a gold mine from their father. The first brother digs for a week, finds nothing, and gives up. It's a waste of time, he says. He sells his shares for pennies and walks away. The second brother keeps digging. He doesn't complain when he hits that hard bedrock. He adjusts his strategy and keeps going. He thinks bigger than just the day-to-day grind. His goals aren't set on what he discovers, but something bigger. And eventually, that second brother hits a gold vein that lasts for generations of wealth. The difference? The first brother thought in weeks, while the second brother thought in decades. This is the mindset shift that separates those who make millions from those who live in survival mode. I want you to truly understand these words. Wealth is built only by people who think in the long term. You might get rich off a meme coin or you might flip a good stock trade, but it's not gonna last in a consistent lifestyle. You have to change your identity as well as that mindset, and that's why we're here. If you're still making your decisions on what feels easy now, you're gonna be broke in 5 years. But if you're making decisions based on where you wanna be in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, you will be unstoppable. Before we go further, I get it. It's hard, right? It's hard to think in years or decades when you can barely keep the lights on. That's exactly why we're here. The shift isn't drastically changing your life overnight, but understanding how to set bigger goals. Eventually, the day-to-day actions will reflect on that, and it'll get easier to have money saved. So if you feel like that's hard for you right now, stay with this. Let's continue. The reason most people are in that mindset is because they're taught to think about money like consumers, while the rich think about it like investors. This is the broke mentality, and it's not a bad word, but just understand that that's most of the people watching right now. It's essentially that scarcity mindset. You think money is earned by the hour. You believe in saving your way, not multiplying. You avoid risks and wait for certainty. You spend money on things that lose value and try to have the nice car or a nice boat when it's really not important. More importantly, you fear losing money more than you have a desire to make it. Pay attention to that last point. Now here's the wealth mindset or the abundance mindset. First, you understand that money is a tool for leverage and more opportunity. Next, you understand money is infinite and you can infinitely continue earning it and giving it away. Essentially, it's the same as oxygen. I can take a breath in and a new one's coming right after. Next, you use money to buy back time and scale your opportunities by having other people do the work. With that time, you invest in skills, assets, and networks that build value, not the newest season of Fortnite. Finally, you understand that it is guaranteed that risk and uncertainty are part of the game, and you instead look to control it and not to avoid it. The biggest shift out of all of these you need to make, stop seeing money as something you trade your time for. See it as something that you multiply. And even better yet, don't see it as anything. See it as a result of your work. If your work gets exponentially more meaningful, the money will be a delayed measure of that. Again, delayed, it's not gonna show up right away, but if you keep putting the work in, you will clearly see your value go up. Saving needs to stop. It's how you get started, but getting rich and wealthy is made by multiplying your money, not by saving your way to retirement. If retirement and having a stable, secure life is more your style, then please go that way. But this course isn't gonna be much use to you. We're gonna talk about an important point. How do you buy back your time? There's two ways you can essentially live, in my opinion. First, trading time for money, as we said. You work a job, you always have a fixed rate for your labor, and you're always exchanging hours for dollars. Again, most people start there, so don't hate that life. It's part of the process. But here's where we want to go. We want to buy back our time with the money. We want to build systems and automate. AI is an amazing tool and leverage opportunity that you have never gotten access to, or the people at the top. And it's changing everyone's life. Next, hiring people to help you produce more labor. And finally, investing in assets that generate wealth without a great amount of labor. Real estate isn't always going to make you successful unless you're into fix and flipping or wholesaling and have a business around it. I see too many people trying to get rich quick with real estate. And again, I've been in this industry and I know that it takes time to build equity. The market doesn't move a lot, but it generally moves up like the S&P, and you're better off putting your money in there for now. Instead, you need a skill that you can sell instantly, somewhere online, that you can coach people from anywhere and close deals as soon as tonight. I've tried all of these systems, drop shipping, trading, crypto, all these crazy ideas, and that is the best, most reliable way. Because the price you charge can be all profit, and it can also be multiplied depending on what your value is to the world. And that means your hourly rate can grow infinitely large. I'm able to charge higher premiums because A, I know I can do the work for my clients. I have an amazing team that helps buy back my time. And finally, my time is worth more because of those systems. I prioritize my pricing because I know I can deliver, and also because I know time is my greatest asset. So if I'm giving that away, I'm gonna put a higher price tag on it. That's why we're focused on growing an online presence and influence. Because the more brand sponsorships you have, the more followers, the higher engagement you have, instantly produces a higher dollar rate per hour. And you don't have to work 25 years at a McDonald's to get to that same point that you could get in a month or two. It's crazy. Most of my buddies always hold on to their money like it's so scarce, but then they'll waste their day doing nothing. The wealthy do the opposite. Money to them doesn't mean anything. I can go buy an ad campaign or buy a house or whatever it's gonna be as an investment because I'm protecting my time and generating income so I can sit on the beach. At the end of the day, as humans, we want to live the best life possible, and that's based on time, not always money. Because you could have $1 million a year, but not have time to go to the Bahamas and use it. So with that said, if you're still doing everything yourself, you're playing the wrong game. And I hate to say it, but if you're still trying to learn everything for free, instead of investing in time-saving resources, you're never gonna make it. At some point, we're gonna have to break that pattern, because when you have $1 million in your bank account, it's not just gonna sit there. The reason you got there is because you made strategic moves on the Monopoly board to generate income. And that's what we're gonna focus on. The billionaire mindset is this: how do I remove myself out of the process and still generate just as high of a revenue? This is why the rich care about assets, teams, automation, and nowadays AI technology. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. I see you looking at me. I'm not just yapping here. We're gonna get to the point. Now that you understand how the 1% think, here's how we apply it. Because I can't just lecture at you. This is a course and I want you to engage. Again, you better be doing your homework. First, and ideally write this down on a piece of paper so it's ingrained more into your mental memory, but stop asking how much something costs. I know it's hard because how am I gonna get the money to spend if I'm not being careful in budgeting? But you're not getting rid of that mental math. You're changing the question. I want you to start asking, what's the ROI? In other words, what's the return on investment? Broke people see price tags and think cost. How much is this taking away from me? The wealthy see price tags and think value. And a lot of times they'll look to spend money because they understand that a lot of the things they're buying at that higher level are gonna keep their value. A Birkin bag, a Richard Mille watch are gonna hold value. But a casual Garmin or Casio watch from Walmart is essentially worthless as soon as you buy it. It's because those companies understand rich people love buying wealth holding assets. And so if the value can be retained in these watches or handbags or whatever it's gonna be easier to hold on to it for these people. So you're not asking how much does this cost? How much is the card gonna be swiped for? You're asking how much is it gonna be worth in 5 years and I can still enjoy it. If something makes you money and buys back your time, it's not a cost, it's an investment. For example, I just spent $1,000 on a camcorder to start recording vlogs. I wanna give you guys more of an insight into my day-to-day life. Because of that, I didn't even think twice about the purchase because I put it on a business card and I can write it off my taxes, and also it's gonna motivate me to make more content. Content that's gonna drive more of you to watch these videos, to engage in our community, and help spur our growth. And so I'm seeing that as the value behind the camera, and I will pay for that 1,000,000 times over. Transition point 2, and I hated this one at first. Stop trying to do it all yourself. You're not Superman. If you're still editing your videos, building your website, and doing it all yourself, you're not gonna scale. But you also do need to do it for a few months so you understand how to pick good people for your team. Shout out to my video editor. What you can do today is think of your highest leverage tasks. What is gonna have the biggest potential of you completing a task to generate income? For example, DMing someone on Instagram has a very high leverage to it because there's a great chance someone responds and can get get on a sales call where you can make money off that. But designing an email campaign doesn't really need to be a priority as much because there's quite a few steps that have to happen between that and the sale. I want you to start implementing CEO strategic planning time. Find some time during the week, an hour or two, and just sit in silence or in front of a computer with a notebook or whatever you need to write on. Start planning out what those highest leverage tasks are and the things you need to delegate. Just 2 lists to keep it simple. If it's not something that has a high likelihood in directly relating to revenue, delegate it in a way possible. There's so many AI tools you can find, and just ask in our community. My rule of thumb is if someone can do it 80% as well as you, then hire them. And you need to forget about it. Again, it's not a cost, it's an investment. You can write it off on your taxes if you have an LLC. But even if it's something really small, like paying someone 20 bucks for a thumbnail, do it to train yourself to start putting money back into yourself. You're spending money on creatine or protein powder or the new Fortnite season to hopefully increase your skills in some way. Do the same for your business. Finally, as we mentioned, point 3. Start thinking in decades and not in days. Don't ask what'll make me money this month. Ask, what am I building now that I will not see results today, but 10 years from now, if I kept doing it, I'll see results. I know that most of the big things I'm doing today, like YouTube, aren't gonna leverage high returns today, but in 10 years they will. And so what I build my business around and my legacy doesn't have to generate instant returns. My agency, my community, my stock investments, those are all things that generate the day-to-day revenue, and I can use that for the expenses toward my long-term channel. But I didn't start the channel thinking I'm gonna be monetized in 2 months. If you do that, you're setting yourself up to fail. Long-term thinkers start with the end goal, break it up into those high-leverage tasks we talked about, and figure out what to prioritize. That's the formula to exponentially compound your results. Otherwise, if you're just creating an email every day for 5 years, you're never gonna get anywhere. Now, let's give you the homework for this lesson. Get out your notepad. Here's task 1. Write down the 3 biggest money-making decisions you made in the past year. Were they based on cost and what it was going to spend out of your bank account? Or were you thinking about it and what's it going to return for you in the long run? Essentially, were you assessing the pain that's going to come from your bank account or the return on investment or ROI that it will lead to for you? Because transitioning, especially for those important purchases like my video camera, make you more likely to be successful and use those things. What's the next move you can make to replace yourself in that task, even if it's scary to have someone else do it or AI do it? Again, I now have AI automate my short form content, and I don't get to put as much work, and the quality is a little worse for now, but it saves an exponential amount of time, so it's worth it. It's 80% as good, like I said, so it is part of the system. Write down what those tasks might be. It might be short form for you as well. And finally, task 3. Write down the 10-year wealth vision. I want you to understand this is not going to be permanent. It's going to change a year or 2 from now. But for this exact moment, think about where you would like to see yourself. It could be one of many things, but pick a concrete vision. Right now, mine is moving to Dubai and having the McLaren that I can take to the racetrack every day and being able to sit by the poolside. I would love being able to be on the strip there and see myself connecting with high-level influencers. For now, I'm just enjoying the US as it is. But where do you see yourself? How am I waking up in Dubai? What does the air taste like? It's cheesy, right? But do it. What kind of bed frame do I have? Is it a big oak bed frame with linen sheets? Do you have a partner with you? What does she or he look like? What do they do to add to your day? What can you brag about to others about them? Where do you go to eat? What are you wearing? I picture myself in a linen shirt and some casual linen shorts. The air is more hot and deserty there, so I want to be in a more cool outfit. I want you to get this technical, and it should be probably 3 or 4 paragraphs. You can use ChatGPT to ask you questions and help you plan that dream day. But as the last point, focus on how are you investing your time, money, and resources to help aid in that journey. That's going to give you the main tasks that you need to prioritize, like a YouTube channel or a coaching program or an agency or advertising service, all things that you can picture in that dream day that you can break up right now into high leverage tasks to start taking action as soon as after this video. If you're a member in the paid community, obviously we're gonna help you figure those things out and plan them into your day. Let's finish this up. The difference between broke and wealthy people isn't actually intelligence, it's mindset. It's a different concept. And that's why we're starting here, because everything you do after this course will reflect the growth you've had. The broke person sees scarcity. The wealthy person sees abundance and a flow of energy and transfer of money. The broke person asks, how do I survive? How do I get gas this week? How do I keep the lights on? The wealthy person says, I understand I have to do all that, but how can I use the little extra money I have to create something that lasts, even at a small level? And they don't expect results right away, but over time they know that they will get there, even just putting a few extra dollars into it. I'm gonna give you some motivation. You have the same 24 hours as all of the people that made it. Only difference, they think about the time, the money, and the opportunity a little bit differently, but that's what we're here to fix. If you start applying these mindset shifts today and do those 3 things, you'll start to separate yourself from the 99% of people. The people that see themselves saving to retirement or going to the bars on the weekends. You won't, because you know what that dream day looks like. And you know that you have to take action because it will eventually lead you there. And you know that in the long run, even if you have a bad day, your motivation's not gonna stop, because those terrible days and those grind days are going to lead to that in 5 years. And oftentimes it's well sooner than that. I've seen people blow up instantly. This is the foundation of everything we're about to build in this program and all the different courses beyond. I am really glad you're here and you have made the right choice. Next, it gets even better. We're diving into execution, discipline, and those day-to-day habits that make success inevitable. Do the homework, reflect, and get ready. It's time to lock in.